Commander Jalen Core had always been used to surprises. A decorated starship captain and diplomat, he had faced hostile aliens, rogue planets, and unexpected cosmic storms. But nothing prepared him for the day he entered the Grand Hall of the Galactic Council. Hundreds of delegates from dozens of alien worlds had gathered there, their bodies, eyes, and voices unlike anything humans had ever seen. The hall itself was a masterpiece of technology and alien architecture, a place that seemed to float above the void of space. Light refracted in strange patterns across the walls, making every figure shimmer with unnatural colors. The occasion was simple in explanation but monumental in consequence. The council was pairing diplomats with representatives from different species to promote peace across the galaxy. Each member had to choose a partner, someone who would work closely with them for years to come. In most cases, the choices were predictable. Beauty, calmness, and social grace were valued above all else. No one expected humans, a relatively new species on the galactic stage, to defy the norms, but Jalen had a different plan. As the ceremony began, the council leader, a tall, ethereal being with translucent wings, spoke in a voice that resonated like chimes. Today, the council will witness new alliances. Remember, your choice reflects not only your preference, but your world's judgment. Among the choices were luminescent beings with perfect symmetry, melodic voices, and gentle eyes that seemed to see straight into one's soul. Then he saw her, Ziraika. She was nothing like the other candidates. Her skin was mottled in strange patterns, her limbs slightly uneven, and her facial expressions were intense, sometimes harsh. Rumors had already spread about her personality. Ziraika was considered jealous and difficult, prone to sudden outbursts. Most delegates avoided her entirely, some even whispering warnings. Yet when Jalen looked at her, he saw something else. Intelligence, courage, and a spark that no other alien seemed to possess. He stepped forward. The hall fell silent. Every eye turned toward him. "I choose Ziraika," Jalen announced. There was a collective gasp. Whispers ran through the hall like wildfire. Humans and aliens alike stared at him in disbelief. The other aliens, all perfectly suited to protocol, looked shocked, some even offended. One particularly proud luminescent delegate, her skin glowing like molten crystal, whispered to her companion, "Surely he cannot be serious." He had learned long ago that appearances were often deceptive. True strength lay in character, in intelligence, and in courage. Ziraika might not be conventionally beautiful, but she possessed qualities that could not be taught or replicated by any other being in that hall. Ziraika's eyes narrowed as she stepped forward. For a moment, her jealousy flared visibly, but then she bowed to Jalen, acknowledging the choice. Many delegates gasped again. This was unprecedented. No human had ever chosen such a partner, and few aliens would have dared to accept the challenge. The council leaders' wings shimmered as they moved, and their voice resonated with curiosity and caution. "This is highly irregular," they said. "Explain your reasoning, human." A few whispered in approval, though most remained skeptical. Ziraika, for her part, looked at Jalen with an expression that mixed surprise and suspicion. She had been underestimated her whole life, dismissed because of her looks and temperament. Now, a human had seen something she had never experienced before: respect. As the ceremony continued, Jalen and Ziraika were escorted to a private chamber to begin their preparations. The chamber was circular, with walls that displayed data about galactic trade, diplomacy, and military developments. It was designed to educate new pairs about the politics and dangers of the galaxy. Ziraika broke the silence first. "You know what you've done, right?" she asked, her voice low and cautious. "Every species in that hall will be watching us. They expect us to fail. I am not easy to handle." For the first time, she felt a flicker of hope that perhaps this partnership could work. Their training began immediately. They were sent on simulations and tests designed to challenge their problem-solving abilities and teamwork. From decoding alien languages to navigating treacherous asteroid fields, the exercises were rigorous. Ziraika excelled in ways no one expected. She was quick to spot patterns others missed, and her intuition for alien behavior proved invaluable. Yet, her jealousy was always near the surface. During one simulation, a holographic projection of a human female diplomat appeared to assist Jalen. Ziraika's eyes narrowed, and she physically moved between Jalen and the projection, blocking his view. The instructors raised alarms, but Jalen simply laughed. "Let her be," he said. "She's protecting me. That's not a bad thing. She just needs to learn control." He didn't see her jealousy as a flaw. He saw it as a tool, something that could be shaped and used wisely. As the days passed, rumors about their partnership spread beyond the training chambers. Some humans admired Jalen's courage in defying norms. Some aliens were still skeptical, viewing him as reckless. Others were quietly curious, wondering if this unusual pairing might succeed where conventional wisdom had failed. Then came the first real test. A rival alien, a sly diplomat from a nearby system, had planted a device meant to humiliate Jalen during the upcoming council feast. The device was small, nearly invisible, and programmed to emit a loud, embarrassing noise during the announcement of his choice. No one expected it to activate before the ceremony, but in the chaos of preparation, it did. A loud, shrill sound erupted from Jalen's robes just as he approached Ziraika to formally introduce her as his partner. The hall went silent, then erupted into laughter and murmurs. Some delegates pointed and whispered, certain this was a human mistake. Jalen froze for a moment, unsure what to do. Ziraika, without hesitation, stepped forward. She grabbed a small device from her belt and pressed a series of buttons. The noise stopped instantly. Gasps filled the hall as she handed the device back to Jalen. "Next time," she said flatly, "don't let them play tricks on you, and trust me enough to act fast. We will observe your progress carefully." By the end of the evening, it was clear that their partnership was unconventional, perhaps even shocking to some. Yet beneath the surface, a foundation was forming. A foundation of trust, respect, and shared purpose. Outside the hall, the stars stretched endlessly, a reminder of the challenges that lay ahead. Jalen knew that their journey would not be easy. The galaxy was filled with danger, intrigue, and hostility. But he also knew that with Ziraika by his side, he had chosen strength over appearance, substance over expectation. And sometimes that made all the difference in the universe. As they left the council building, Ziraika glanced at Jalen. "Nobody expected you to choose me," she said softly. "I didn't expect anyone else to have what we need to survive," Jalen replied. For the first time, both of them smiled, knowing that the real adventure was only just beginning. The stars seemed to twinkle with promise, and the galaxy awaited the human who dared to choose differently, and the alien who refused to be underestimated. The morning after the council feast, Commander Jalen, Kor, and Ziraika prepared for their first real assignment together. Their mission was diplomatic but carried hidden danger. They were to travel to the border world of Krelthar, a planet threatened by a coalition of hostile alien factions. This was a test of skill, judgment, and teamwork, a test that would reveal whether their partnership could survive the galaxy's challenges. The shuttle they boarded was sleek, built for speed and defense. Jalen piloted it himself, navigating through asteroid belts and magnetic storms that would have unnerved any inexperienced traveler. Ziraika sat beside him, scanning navigation data and monitoring communications. Her sharp eyes noticed patterns in the readings that the ship's AI had missed. "Sector 12 is unstable," she said, her voice calm but firm. "The gravimetric readings indicate a possible magnetic storm in our path. Adjust trajectory 32 degrees starboard." Despite her reputation for jealousy and temper, Ziraika worked efficiently and often predicted dangers before they became a threat. Jalen began to understand that her jealousy was not just a flaw. It was an intense loyalty and protective instinct waiting to be channeled correctly. As they approached Krelthar, communications picked up the first warning. The hostile coalition was active near the planet's orbit, sending patrol ships to intimidate and provoke any outsiders. Jalen and Ziraika prepared for a cautious descent. "You think they'll attack?" Jalen asked. "They might," Ziraika replied. "They underestimate humans. They assume we are weak. That will be their mistake." The atmosphere was thin, with streaks of orange clouds swirling across the sky. Alien creatures, tall and spindly, observed them cautiously from the distance. The coalition had clearly sent scouts. The first interaction was tense. Krelthar's local leaders were wary of outsiders, especially humans who had a reputation for unpredictability. Jalen stepped forward, his voice steady. "We come in peace. We seek to assist in protecting your world and negotiating a lasting agreement with the coalition." One of the local ambassadors, hoping to impress Jalen, attempted to maneuver him toward a compromising situation that could damage Earth's reputation. Ziraika noticed immediately. Her eyes flashed with irritation, and she moved between Jalen and the ambassador, speaking in her sharp, commanding tone. "Do not presume to control his actions," she said. Her voice was firm, leaving no room for argument. The alien ambassador froze, then bowed slightly, realizing that Zirika was not to be challenged. Jalen smiled, barely suppressing a laugh. "Thank you," he said quietly. "Most would have tried to manipulate me without you noticing. But some humans need to learn to see it themselves." Her instincts for danger and her awareness of subtle threats gave them an edge no other human could have had. As evening approached, the real test arrived. Scouts from the hostile coalition launched a surprise attack on the settlement, hoping to intimidate both the locals and the human delegation. Ships hovered above, firing warning shots and deploying drones that swept across the settlement. Panic began to spread. "Stay calm," Jalen said, gripping the controls of his portable defense unit. "We can handle this. If we take them out, the rest will retreat." The locals cheered, amazed at the efficiency and bravery of the human-alien pair. Zirika's jealousy flared briefly when she noticed a human diplomat attempting to congratulate Jalen directly, but she controlled it, remembering his earlier guidance. "That was close," Jalen said, exhaling. "I couldn't have done it without you." Jalen realized that what many considered her flaws were actually her strengths in disguise. Her intense loyalty, sharp mind, and willingness to act decisively had saved the day. As night fell, the sky over Krelthar was filled with shimmering auroras, casting light over the settlement. Jalen and Zirika walked together to observe the scene. The locals were celebrating quietly, repairing damage and sharing stories of bravery. "You handled yourself well today," Jalen said. Zirika shrugged. "I do not seek praise, I do not care what others think, but you might need to be more aware of your surroundings next time." "Perhaps you are." The next day, they prepared to return to the council with reports and proof of their mission's success. But as they gathered data and samples, Jalen noticed something unusual on the radar, a small fleet moving swiftly toward them. "They're coming back," he said. "The coalition isn't finished yet. Follow my lead." Together, they turned what could have been a disaster into a decisive victory, forcing the coalition to retreat and leaving the Krelthar settlement unharmed. By the end of the mission, news of their bravery spread across the border worlds. Other species began to see Zirika differently, acknowledging her intelligence, skill, and loyalty. And humans on Earth were starting to understand that Jalen's choice was not reckless but visionary. He had chosen strength, substance, and wisdom over appearances. As they prepared to leave Krelthar, Zirika looked at Jalen. "I admit," she said softly, "you may have chosen wisely after all." It was about seeing what others refused to see. And so, as they traveled back to the council, Jalen and Zirika knew that this was only the beginning. Greater dangers awaited, rival factions would challenge them, and the galaxy would continue to test their partnership. But for now, they had proven one thing, that appearances were meaningless in the face of intelligence, loyalty, and courage. In a galaxy that expected humans to fail, Jalen and Zirika had succeeded, and their bond had grown stronger with every trial. The adventure was far from over, but together they could face whatever challenges awaited them, confident that their unusual partnership was more than just a choice. It was the beginning of a legend. After their successful mission to Krelthar, Commander Jalen Kor and Zirika returned to the Galactic Council, expecting acknowledgement and perhaps praise. Instead, they were met with scrutiny. The council chamber was filled with alien delegates whose gazes were sharp and suspicious. Whispers filled the air, some admiring, some doubtful. Jalen could feel the tension, but Zirika remained calm, scanning the room for potential threats and subtle shifts in the delegates' expressions. The council leader, the ethereal being with translucent wings, addressed them first. "Your mission was unconventional, human," they said, their voice calm but carrying weight. "While your success is noted, your methods raise concerns. Some of your choices have violated the expectations of protocol. The people of Krelthar are safe, and the coalition was forced to retreat. That is the measure of success." She knew the council's criticism was not personal. They were testing her as much as Jalen. For centuries, beings like her had been underestimated. This was another test of resilience. "You took unusual risks," the council continued. "Your partner, Zirika, interfered in ways that could have escalated conflict. How do you justify this behavior?" She had expected this line of questioning. Many considered her jealousy and temperament dangerous, a liability rather than an asset. But Jalen gave her a nod, a silent reminder to speak carefully but truthfully. "I did what was necessary to protect my partner and the mission," she said. Some actions may appear aggressive, but they were calculated. We minimized casualties and prevented escalation. Can you assure us that it will not compromise future missions? Some delegates were beginning to respect her for the very traits they had scorned. Her jealousy, her intensity, her unwillingness to accept weakness, all of it had proven valuable. After the Council's questions, Jalen and Zerika were dismissed to prepare reports and data from their mission. Yet the sense of unease lingered. Something felt off. Zerika's instincts, honed from years of facing prejudice and danger, told her that the Council's scrutiny was more than routine. As they reviewed their reports, Zerika noticed anomalies in the data logs from Krelthar. Some transmissions had been intercepted and altered. "Someone is trying to manipulate the perception of our mission," she said quietly. "These aren't mistakes, they're deliberate." If the Council believed the manipulated data, humans could be removed from key negotiations, and Zerika's reputation could be used as a scapegoat for failure. "We need proof," Jalen said firmly. "If someone is working against us, we have to expose them before it's too late. They are familiar with Council systems and protocols. They are watching our every move." She noticed patterns in delegates' movements and behavior that others would have missed. During a routine observation, she discovered a small signal transmitting unauthorized data from one of the Council chambers. "They are operating in secrecy," she said. "I know who it is." They are part of a coalition within the Council itself, delegates who fear humans disrupting their influence. But not clever enough. Zerika's knowledge of alien technology was invaluable. She bypassed security measures and accessed hidden logs, uncovering encrypted messages revealing that a coalition of delegates intended to eliminate any undesirable partnerships from the Council. Humans paired with challenging aliens, like herself, were prime targets. "This is worse than I thought," Jalen said. "They're planning to remove us entirely." Zerika's jealousy flared whenever other species tried to gain Jalen's favor, but she controlled it, using it as vigilance rather than anger. One evening, while analyzing transmissions, Zerika noticed a delegation from a neighboring system attempting unauthorized access to their shuttle's navigation system. "They're testing us," she said. "They want to see how we respond under pressure." This evidence would be key in exposing the conspiracy. Despite the danger, the experience strengthened their partnership. Zerika's intelligence and instinct complemented Jalen's courage and decisiveness. They moved as a team, anticipating threats before they happened. The galaxy's challenges were becoming tests of character as much as skill. The Council finally summoned them for another hearing. Evidence in hand, Jalen and Zerika presented their findings calmly. Logs, transmissions, and intercepted messages were displayed, showing the conspiracy in clear detail. The Council chamber was silent as delegates reviewed the proof. The leader spoke, their tone measured. "This is unprecedented. Evidence of internal sabotage is rare. Humans and Zerika have demonstrated not only courage, but discernment and strategic thinking. We recognized abilities and loyalty beyond appearances. This trust allowed us to uncover a threat that others overlooked. That is the strength of humanity and the strength of partnerships that challenge expectations." "That was your mistake. Loyalty, intelligence, and courage cannot be judged by appearance or temperament. You see it now. Humans and challenging partners can thrive when trust and courage guide them. Their example will not be forgotten." Jalen's courage and trust had allowed her strengths to shine. Together, they had turned what many saw as weakness into an unparalleled advantage. Outside the Council, the stars stretched endlessly. Jalen looked at Zerika. "You handled that brilliantly," he said. Zerika smirked slightly. "I told you, humans underestimate what they cannot understand. You just happen to see it differently." The Council may have doubted them, conspirators may have plotted against them, and whispers may have spread. But Jalen and Zerika had proven a fundamental truth. Appearances and expectations were meaningless in the face of loyalty, intelligence, and courage. And in a galaxy full of danger and intrigue, those qualities were more powerful than any beauty or protocol. As they prepared for the next phase of their mission, traveling deeper into uncharted space, confronting new threats, and defending humanity's place among the stars, both knew that greater challenges awaited. But for the first time, they faced them with unshakable trust in each other. The galaxy had tested them, and they had risen to the challenge. The real adventure, the one that would test every skill, every instinct, and every ounce of courage, was just beginning. And for the first time, Ziraika allowed herself to hope. Not just that they would survive, but that together, they could change the way the galaxy saw humans, aliens, and unlikely partnerships alike. The stars outside the Council's observation windows shimmered like scattered jewels as Commander Jalen Kor and Ziraika prepared for their next mission. The Council had assigned them a delicate task, to investigate a series of attacks on neutral trade routes in uncharted space. The coalition that had previously threatened Krelthar was suspected, but intelligence suggested a more organized and dangerous force at work. Jalen and Ziraika were to travel to the edge of known space, gather evidence, and if possible, stop the attacks before more worlds were affected. Ziraika studied the mission files with her usual intensity. Every detail mattered: the travel routes, the timing of attacks, the patterns of enemy ships. They are operating with precision, she noted. This is no random act of violence. Someone is directing them, likely using information we have not yet discovered. Ziraika's attention never wavered. She scanned sensors and analyzed data constantly, her eyes moving faster than any human could process. "I've detected unusual energy signatures ahead," Ziraika said suddenly. "They resemble cloaked warships. They're not on standard transponder channels, which means someone is hiding their movements deliberately." "Can you track them?" "They've been avoiding detection for weeks." A cloaked ship had detected their approach, and energy pulses began bombarding the shuttle. Jalen's eyes widened. "Shields up!" he shouted. The craft shuddered as the first strikes hit, but the defensive systems held. Ziraika analyzed the enemy's tactics. "They're testing us," she said. "They want to see how we respond before committing fully. Wait for my signal, don't overreact." Slowly, they gained the upper hand, forcing the attackers to retreat temporarily. "We've got them on the defensive," Ziraika said. "But this is only the beginning. The fleet is larger than we anticipated, and they'll regroup quickly. Then we'll be ready when they return." Any large fleet would struggle to navigate it without being damaged. Using a small, nimble craft designed for stealth, they approached the hidden base, cloaking their ship to avoid detection. Ziraika's knowledge of alien technology allowed them to bypass external sensors and entry protocols. They landed quietly on a platform and prepared to enter the base. Inside, the base was dimly lit, with corridors filled with strange machinery and alien guards patrolling regularly. Ziraika moved with silent confidence, analyzing every step. "We need to get to the central command room," she said. "That's where all operations are coordinated. If we disable their communications, we can stop the attacks immediately. We need to distract them." The technology inside was advanced, far beyond what they had encountered before. Ziraika quickly scanned the systems. "This is where they're controlling the fleet," she said. "I can shut it down, but it will take time. We have to work quickly before they realize we are here." Ziraika's fingers flew over the controls, bypassing security protocols and disabling communication channels. Slowly, the fleet's operations began to shut down, the attacks on trade routes ceasing in real time. But then alarms blared again. Reinforcements had arrived, alerted by the initial diversion. Ziraika's eyes flashed with determination. "We need to finish quickly and get out," she said. Jalen nodded. Together they worked faster, her hands flying over the alien controls while he monitored their escape routes. With precise coordination, they disabled the fleet completely, leaving the base in chaos as enemy personnel scrambled to respond. As they exited the base, a group of guards spotted them. Jalen's craft was ready, engines humming. Ziraika moved with incredible speed, disabling a series of traps that could have destroyed the shuttle. They jumped into the craft just as the base began to collapse from internal system failures. Flying back into space, Ziraika allowed herself a rare smile. "That was close," she said. "Too close for comfort. Without your guidance, we would not have succeeded." Jalen and Ziraika knew that their unconventional partnership was still being watched carefully by both allies and rivals. Back at the council, news of their achievement spread quickly. Some delegates expressed admiration, while others remained skeptical. Ziraika's reputation began to change. No longer just the ugly and jealous alien, she was recognized for her intelligence, courage, and strategic thinking. But the challenges were far from over. Reports indicated that remnants of the coalition had escaped and were regrouping in another sector. Jalen and Ziraika's skills would be needed again, and perhaps in situations even more dangerous than before. As they prepared for their next mission, Ziraika's eyes narrowed in thought. "We have made progress," she said, "but the galaxy is vast and threats are never-ending. We must remain vigilant. Together, we are more than the sum of our parts. That is something no one can predict." Greater dangers, more cunning enemies, and the unknown stretches of uncharted space awaited. But Jalen and Ziraika were ready. Their skills, their trust, and their understanding of each other were unmatched. In a galaxy full of doubt, fear, and prejudice, they had found strength where others saw weakness. And as the shuttle glided through the stars, both knew that their legend was just beginning. The duo who defied expectations, who trusted in each other despite the doubts of the Council and the prejudices of countless species, was becoming a force the galaxy would never forget. No one expected a human to choose Ziraika. No one expected her to survive and succeed in ways others could not imagine. But together, they had proven that the unlikely could become unstoppable, and that courage, intelligence, and loyalty were the true measures of power in the universe. As they looked out at the galaxy ahead, they prepared for whatever came next, confident in the knowledge that together, they could face anything, even the threats that had yet to reveal themselves. The galaxy had tested Commander Jalen Kor and Ziraika in ways neither could have imagined. From the Council's scrutiny to hostile fleets in uncharted space, every mission had forged their skills, trust, and resilience. But their greatest challenge was still ahead. Intelligence reports indicated that the remnants of the coalition were forming an alliance with a secret faction inside the Council, a group of influential delegates who feared humans and unconventional partnerships. Together, they planned to destabilize the galaxy, remove undesirable pairings, and consolidate power under their control. Jalen and Ziraika sat in the cockpit of their ship, reviewing the data. The target was a massive space station hidden in a nebula heavily fortified and guarded by fleets loyal to the secret faction. The station was both a command center and a manufacturing hub for weapons that threatened multiple systems. Destroying it would prevent war, but failure could cost countless lives, including their own. Ziraika studied the schematics on the display. The defenses are sophisticated. Shields, cloaking technology, automated turrets, and security drones. Direct assault is impossible. We'll need stealth, precision, and strategy. Their synergy was crucial. As they approached the nebula, the clouds of gas and energy obscured sensors, making navigation tricky. Jalen piloted carefully, adjusting their course to avoid gravitational anomalies. Ziraika monitored all systems, detecting subtle energy fluctuations that indicated hidden turrets or patrol routes. "They're expecting someone," she said. "I can sense it. Their scans are tuned for intruders like us." A fleet of patrol drones detected unusual energy patterns, and alarms began to sound across the station. "They know we're here," Ziraika said. "Time to act." Her knowledge of alien systems was unmatched. She bypassed complex locks and hacked the station's internal monitoring, creating blind spots for their movement. Inside the control hub, Ziraika set to work disabling communications, rerouting energy flows, and neutralizing automated defenses. Every action required precision. One mistake could trigger alarms and bring the full fleet against them. Jalen assisted, providing cover, hacking doors, and moving swiftly to ensure no security measures caught them off guard. Suddenly, a squad of elite guards entered the control room. Ziraika's eyes narrowed. She moved with lethal efficiency, using non-lethal energy pulses to incapacitate them while keeping their systems active enough to maintain appearances. Jalen covered her as they worked, anticipating the guards' movements. "Almost there," Ziraika whispered. "Just a few more systems to override. The fleet won't know what hit them until it's too late. And you, Ziraika, are even more dangerous than we imagined." Jalen prepared for a diversion if needed. "You always think you can control everything," Ziraika said. "But some things are beyond your understanding. Loyalty, courage, trust, these are not commands. They cannot be programmed." The hidden fleets scrambled, but without command and communication, their coordination fell apart. Jalen piloted expertly, evading missiles and energy beams, while Ziraika monitored every movement, guiding them through the dangerous nebula. Once clear of the station, they watched as it began a controlled self-destruction, the culmination of their careful planning. The weapon hub was gone and the secret faction's power was neutralized. As silence returned to the shuttle, Ziraika allowed herself a rare smile. "It's over for now. We did it together, That is what matters. You see beyond what others refuse to see, and that is why we succeed. The council leader spoke to them directly. Humans and Zerika, you have proven the power of partnership that transcends expectations. You have shown courage, intelligence, and loyalty beyond measure. Your actions have prevented a galaxy-wide catastrophe. Zerika's reputation was transformed. She was no longer judged for her appearance or her jealousy, but admired for her strategic mind, courage, and dedication. Jalen and Zerika were summoned to address the council. Jalen spoke first. We chose to trust each other to see what others refused to see. That trust allowed us to survive, to protect countless lives, and to prevent a threat that could have destabilized the galaxy. These qualities are what make a partnership successful, and they are what allow humans and those deemed unacceptable to achieve greatness. As the ceremony ended, Jalen and Zerika stepped outside, gazing at the stars. "We've done it," Jalen said softly. Zerika's eyes glimmered. "Yes, but the galaxy is vast. There will always be threats, always challenges. We have proven ourselves, but we cannot stop now. Together, we can face anything." They had proven that courage, loyalty, and intelligence mattered more than appearances. Every challenge they faced, every battle they won, had strengthened their bond and changed the way the galaxy saw them. They had shown that humans, guided by insight and trust, could rise above prejudice and accomplish the impossible. As their shuttle glided among the stars, Zerika looked at Jalen. "Nobody expected us to succeed, human." New threats, unknown dangers, and the vast unknown of space called to them. But for the first time, they were ready for anything, confident in their skills, their trust, and the power of their partnership. In a galaxy full of doubt, fear, and prejudice, Jalen and Zerika had carved their place. They had defied expectations, survived the impossible, and changed the way others would see humans and unconventional allies forever. Their story was no longer just theirs. It belonged to every star, every world, and every being who dared to look beyond appearances and value what truly mattered. And as their shuttle disappeared into the infinite black of space, one truth remained clear. The galaxy had learned a lesson it would never forget. Courage, intelligence, and loyalty could overcome any obstacle, and those who dared to see the value in the unexpected could achieve greatness beyond imagination. Jalen and Zerika's adventure was far from over. The stars held more mysteries, more threats, and more opportunities, but together they were unstoppable. And the galaxy knew that from that day forward, nothing, not prejudice, not danger, not impossible odds, could stand in their way.